G'day everyone, Chris Harrington here, around at the Cathcart's house. I've got Steve Cathcart with me and Brian as well. Thanks for spending a bit of time with us today, fellas.
All right.
And we're just going to have a bit of a chat about the Cathcart family's time at the footy club. The two boys here, there's three older brothers as well. So Brian, we might start with you and you can just tell us a little bit about your time at the club and when you started and your footy time.
I started, I think, about 1970 as about a 7-year-old, following my older brothers down to the Rovers, down to 11 Rovers. At that time, Jimmy Stewart was the coach, and I played under Jimmy for a couple of years, and then Donnie Barron took over in my last year in under 11s, and then I ended up finishing in 78, I think it was. So, yeah.
And you also said
77.
77. And you also said you coached for a year or so?
Yeah, I coached, me and Paul DiMartino coached the under-17s at St Peters when we were about 21. So that was fond memories too. That was the year Jared Cull and John Beveridge, that was their age group, yeah.
Yep. And how'd the boys go? How did the 17s boys go that you coached that year?
We did all right. We didn't quite make the finals, but we had the bare numbers. But yeah, no, we had a good year and we enjoyed it.
And why did you coach at the age of 21? Was it did you have an interest in it, or was it?
Me and a great mate Paul DiMartino, who's another St Peters boy. He, we always wanted to put back in a bit, and I think Dimmer got approached, and then Dimmer approached me, and I said, yeah, let's give it a bill. And
tell us a bit about your older brothers. I think is it starting from the top?
There's John, who played for St Catherine's, believe it or not, because we just moved down from the country, and Dad had bumped into old man McGaw at the family hotel, and said he had a son, and McGaw was the coach of St Cath's, of course, and even though John went to St Peters and only, for a year or two, he ended up at St Cath's. But then John ended up going to St Peters after St Cath's for the under-16 year that Father Kevin Dillon coached, believe it or not. And it's the first time St Peters had a side out of above under-15s. And I think John won the BNF that year. And then there's David. David come along, he played all his football at St Peters.
What years would he have been playing, do you reckon?
David's 4 years older than me, so if I started in, say, 70, 71, David would have been,
late 60s.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
There's flags up on the wall that date back to 67, I think. Back at home, we've never taken them down, and they still sit in my mum's garage to this day. It's probably 50 flags. All
from you boys participating in.
Yeah, but not all of them at Premierships, of course, but they're from all our years together there.
Yep. Yeah. So that's John and David.
David, and then there's Danny. Danny is 2 years older than me. He played all his football at St Peters too.
Yep.
Yeah. And then me, of course, played all my football there, and Stephen played all his football there.
Yeah. And over to you, Steve. So we're the same age. In fact, we played our junior footy. We started together, and then I didn't last as long as you did. I went off and played with some schoolmates at Deidre, but you played all the way through.
Yeah, well, started under 11s here with Johnny Beveridge, me and you.
Yeah.
And I think we might have moved across from the Rovers to the Colts in under 13s. It was a bit of a no-no thing to do, but
they needed a bit of power in the midfield, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So we went across there, and then I think, from memory, the club changed everything around a bit, and we decided to have under 12, not have the year, where you skip a year. Like we used to go under 11s, 13s.
Yep.
I remember all of a sudden we had an under 14 team. So we had, instead of going up like we would have, our brothers did in that, go to the Panthers or the Spartans, we were all one team, and we joined the Dandenong League. And that was a hell of a shock because we were winning all the flags in the BNYC, and then we come out in this Dandenong League thinking we were pretty good, and a couple of sides out there had some big boys, and we got hit pretty hard, and all of a sudden had to pull our heads in a bit. But yeah, continued on under 15s, and then then we didn't have it. I think I played under 17s the first year because we didn't have it under 16s. We didn't have enough players.
Yep.
And then I got itchy feet and went over and played for BMIC against St Peters in under 17s my second year.
I didn't know that. We might cut that bit out though.
Yeah, I think we better. Me and a couple of mates, Brett Andrews and a couple of others, we just decided, we go and have a crack over the road. So, but yeah, that was a bit of fun. It was all good.
Yeah.
But I played with some great people and some really good coaches. Of course, Johnny Beveridge and Steve Hine was great, and Ronnie Robinson, Warren McGuinness.
Yeah.
All great coaches, and appreciate everything they did for us, really.
Yeah, no, it's good times. And you blokes, the two of you, came back many years later and helped out St Peters only a few years ago and coached the under-18s.
Yes.
You and Brian, yeah.
That was
the only under-18 side we've had too, I think.
Yeah.
We had a good bunch of kids too. It was Mitch Kent. Was he your captain,
Yeah.
Mitch Kent?
Or
in under-18s.
In under-18s?
Because we had the boys for 3 years, with Brian's boy playing, Callum.
Yep.
And that was a great experience, coming back and coaching the kids. I'd had a bit of experience coaching kids in other sides around the area, and with Brian. So we've been coaching a fair bit, over the last 15 years. Got the chance to coach Callum and his mates, and that was the most memorable and enjoyable coaching I ever did.
Really?
Couldn't believe how good a group of kids. We won the under-17 Premiership, which was awesome. And the committee saw it, give us a chance to, because we had two teams, we went on and had another 18 team that was sort of quite successful, and could have gone a bit further, but the boys sort of wanted to go their own way into the, wanted to head to senior clubs and that. So, but no, it was a very enjoyable year.
Yeah, I remember that group you had. Not all of them were ready to go to under 19 straight away. So you guys were good enough to
filled in a gap
to hold on.
That might not have never played again.
Because I think
you
remember Harrow, we had 50 kids coming out of the two under 17 teams.
That's right.
It was
And the last thing you want is kids just not playing footy because there's no opportunity. So that was a fantastic effort by both of you. You got to tell me this story. I've heard that Brian, you and your brother Danny were playing Little League. I think you were 9 and Danny was 11.
Yeah.
And you both got a chance to play Little League, a game of Little League.
For Melbourne, yes.
For Melbourne.
Yeah.
Just tell us a bit about what happened that day.
Well, coming from a big family, we didn't have that much man of gear. We usually had one pair of, we usually had a pair of boots each, but that was about it. But at half time, there was only one pair of white shorts in our bag. And
so hang on, one pair of white shorts between the two of you?
Yes. So we decided Danny would play the first half and I'd play the second half. So there's about 30,000 people there, and they put the towel up, and Danny pulled down his strides and gave them to me, and I put mine on, and the crowd went berserk behind me, and it was looking back. Yeah, it would have been quite funny.
Where were you at? What ground?
The Junction Oval.
Junction Oval. 30,000 people at the Junction Oval looking at Brian Cathcart in his shop.
in the undies. I was very embarrassed, actually, looking back on it. That's what was funny now.
Yeah. And you blokes have been pretty involved in St Paul's in the doggies in the last few years, supporting. Tell me what you've been doing down there.
Well, pretty much, I went straight from St Peters, had that 1 year. I went straight to St Paul's.
Yep. Coaching?
No, just playing, of course. Just played all that footy there. Sorry. Yeah, just from 17 years of age. I had brothers playing there by that stage, and Maryanne folded from the VFA where Brian was playing, so there was nowhere else really to go. And a couple of my older brothers were playing at St Paul, so because I think I went to Maryanne, Caulfield, and all these clubs were folding at that time. It was a terrible time for VFA and that. Yeah. So I ended up at St Paul's, and then Brian come back from overseas, and all 5 of us ended up playing at St Paul's together.
Did you really?
We've sort of stayed there ever since. So I've only ever been in one club, St Paul's, and, retired at 30, coached for the last, for about 10 years after that, or assistant, or and well, we've all been involved there. We'll be down there today, so just a good local club. Yeah,
and they're playing with Bentley today.
Yeah, so great rivalry. Yeah. Brian's best mate's the president of Bentley, so
Paul Dimatina.
Yeah, so and there's plenty of old St Peters guys playing for both sides, so it's always great rivalry and good fun.
It's really good community sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the things I think about the St Peters club as a junior footy club, there's so many people that are our age now and older, still see each other, still good mates and help out, and it's a sign of a really strong club. What I've got to ask you, out of all the 5 boys, the Cathcart boys, who's the best player?
No,
I didn't think anyone would answer this. I reckon.
I'd have to say Brian.
Yeah.
Brian won a VFA league medal at 17 in the under 19 comp.
Yeah.
So he was a year underage. Played for Sandringham first round next year when it was a very high quality football, and then had some terrible injuries, of course, and setbacks. But yeah, I'd say Brian was probably the best.
Yep.
But he saw a bit more of the older ones than I did.
Yeah.
David won. I think John won about 5 juniors best and fairest between St Kilda and St Peters. And I think David won a couple of. David won at least 2 best and fairest in Premiership years for St Peters as well. So they were all pretty good players. Dan liked his lollies too much. He wasn't a bad player, Dan, but he wasn't that committed.
Yeah.
But he still enjoyed it. He still played Dan, but
yeah.
John and David were pretty good players as well.
You're a footy fanatical family, and I remember as a little kid being up at your place at Northern Road a lot, just kicking footies inside, outside, over the roof, wherever we could. And you know, and your mum and dad obviously were big supporters of you 5 boys, getting you to and from games and week in, week out.
Well, in those days, like there wasn't that many parents supporting the sides. Really, it was every kid made their own way to training, more or less. I remember there when I first started, Jimmy Stewart, we'd all jump in the back of Jimmy Stewart's ute and get dropped off after training of a Sunday morning or of a night, training night. There was no seatbelts or anything back then.
No.
But, yeah, and a lot of the parents had to work of a Saturday, and so really the team manager, a couple of parents, but not like today. Like today, the parents are really involved, which is a great thing. But back then, a lot of the parents had to work. So the kids were a lot more independent as my generation would know. They usually made the way to the ground, on their own.
Yep. And so, just we'll wind up because I know you guys have got to go down to St Paul's and watch the boys play Bentley today. So I appreciate you sticking around, having a chat with us. What would you say is your fondest memory about St Peters, about your time growing up playing footy through the St Peters Footy Club?
Definitely the mateship. I've still got mates now that, like all my closest mates I played footy with at St Peters.
Yeah.
They're still my mates to this day. And we all still catch up quite regularly. And, we've got some great memories.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
It's hard to go against that.
Yeah.
I think it's all about friendship.
Yeah.
And more friends you got, the better you're going to go, I reckon.
Yeah.
And footy clubs are a great place to start. And so it's just all about the people you meet. And, there's not too many bad ones coming out of St Peters.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks again.
Thanks, Harry.
Happy 60th anniversary to the club.
Yes.
And we hope to see you in a few weeks' time up at Yarra Yarra. We're actually, the backdrop here, folks, is the great oval at Morley High. So the boys have got themselves a nice little spot, decking out here, really comfortable. Beautiful view of the footy. Nice cold beer. And good mates.
We can walk to the reunion over here.
And they can walk to the reunion. How good's that? Anyway, thanks very much again, fellas, and good luck today. And we'll see you in a few weeks.